Morning to all, and thank you for joining us. My name is Soledad Martinez Peria. I'm an assistant director at the IMF. I'm privileged this morning to chair the second session of our three-part series event on central banking and inequality, COVID-19 and beyond, organized by the Peterson Institute for International Economics, the International Monetary Fund, and the Council on Economic Policies. The session this morning will focus on the role of financial infrastructure and its link to inequality. As we know, COVID-19 has hit some sectors and communities more than others, and this can have long-run implications on inequality. In fact, in a recent speech, Jerome Powell recognized just this and stated that the pandemic is further widening divides in wealth and economic mobility. While fiscal authorities wield the most instruments to tackle inequality, this panel will be devoted to discussing the role that central banks, as the authority that oversees payment systems and financial institutions in most countries, as well as, of course, runs monetary policy, can play in reducing inequality. In this case, by promoting the development of financial infrastructure and fostering financial inclusion before, during, and after COVID. To discuss these issues, we're privileged to have four great speakers who have written extensively in this area. Camille Bousset is a senior fellow in governance studies with affiliated appointments in economic studies and the metropolitan policy programs. She's the director of the Race, Prosperity, and Inclusion Initiative, Brookings cross-program initiative focused on issues of equality, race, racial justice, and economic mobility for low-income communities and communities of color. Our second speaker, Luis Awazu Pereira da Silva, is the Deputy General Manager of the Bank for International Settlements. In his role as Deputy General Manager, he has given many speeches and done substantive work on financial inclusion and financial innovation. Our third speaker, Leora Clapper, is a lead economist in the finance and private sector research team of the Development Research Group at the World Bank. She's a founder of the well-known Global Findex database, which measures how adults around the world save, borrow, make payments, and manage risk. Leora has had many publications related to financial inclusion. Finally, Professor Robert Townsend, he's the Elizabeth and James Killian Professor of Economics at MIT. He's also a distinguishing research fellow at the Becker-Friedman Institute for Research in Economics at the University of Chicago and a research associate at the National Bureau of Economics. Among other important seminal work, Professor Townsend is known for his work on insurance and credit in developing countries. So let me set the ground rules for our discussion this morning. Each speaker, in the order that I've introduced them, will have make an introductory remarks for 10 to 12 minutes. And then after all of them have spoken, we will take questions from the audience. So to pose questions, please post any issues you want to discuss in the Q&A chat box, and I will be monitoring that throughout this morning and make sure to try and get to your questions after the speakers have presented. And hopefully we'll be able to cover most of the questions because we've left around 30 minutes for Q&A. So without further ado, now let me give the screen to Camille, and thank you again all for coming, and looking forward to a great discussion.